What's going on, Port fans? Welcome back to another video on the channel. And today we're going to be previewing round 10, Port Adelaide versus Geelong down at, well, what is the name of the stadium now? Simmons Stadium? No. GMHBA Stadium, that's the one we're playing at this Saturday afternoon at 1:10 p.m. It's going to be an absolute belter down there at the Cattery, and a game that I think is going to prove a lot to see how Port Adelaide are really tracking. 4-5 compared to Geelong, 5-4. Pretty even in terms of how we're both going, and they got done by the Saints last week. Port doing the job over North Melbourne by 69 points. It's a massive game at the Cattery. I'm here to preview it, so let's get straight into it. Well, everyone, it's going to be a massive game on Saturday, and I can't wait to see what pans out for Port Adelaide and Geelong. It's going to be a belter. I think this game is a little bit more underrated in terms of going into it. I know it's going to be a tough task going down to the Cattery. It's just one of those games where you just look at it and go, shit, it's not going to be real pleasant if we play Geelong at the Cattery. GMHBA Stadium under a bit of construction as well down at one end. Fremantle got the job done there only a couple of weeks ago by 3 points, and I think it's not as formidable as it once was. Obviously, it's a very tough task down there, but we've seen the likes of Brisbane go down there, give a challenge. We've seen, obviously, Fremantle get the job done. Melbourne have continually won, and I know I'm mentioning the teams that are actually in good form at the moment compared to a Port Adelaide outfit that is on the rise after starting 0-5. But I will say this. We have been pretty good against Geelong of late, most notably in finals compared to in-season games. So I wouldn't be surprised if, one, we drop this game, but also I wouldn't be surprised if we get the job done because we match up really well. If anything like the qualifying final last year, then I think we're going to have a very good opportunity. Aliir has obviously been a massive find in that game last year, and I think he's starting to find his feet a little bit more now after injury. And the three big tools are a big dynamic changer for now. Obviously, they're going to have Tom Stewart and Blitzarves marking us, and it's going to be a real test against Finlayson and Marshall and Georgiadis as well. But then again, they've got the two key pillars in Hawkins and Cameron, and we're going to have Clury, Aliir. Most notably, I think Jonas will come back as well as the skipper down there matching up against them. And Cameron's played a lot more of a higher role this year, so maybe looking at what we can do differently to match up on him and nullify his influence up the ground. Tom Hawkins is always going to be a prolific member of their forward line and is going to be a very damaging one if we let them off the loose. And they haven't had too many injuries of late. They've seen Duncan, Dangerfield, Selwood. They're consistent still in what they've been doing, but also they've got little standouts, and I think the one for me that's going to be something that we look at is their smaller forwards. Close has been very good, Stengel's been very good, and they've seemed to have a goal outlet. And last week, obviously, they lost to St Kilda and sort of took the foot off the pedal a little bit, and maybe that is a little bit of a break in their maturity and the way the team's going about. Maybe we can see an opportunity to break through Geelong and really damage them on the outside with a younger, more pace around the outside. Whether it exposes them or not is going to be interesting to see. They do have, however, that experience and that knowledge, and they seem to be developing some good young players as well. Cooper Stevens, who's been stiff, and then Hughes is going to come back in this week. And I just think, whilst Geelong are the type that are very scary down at the Cattery, they're gettable. And that's how I'm overall thinking this week. Because if Port Adelaide win, then I think 5-5 respectable, but we played a lot better than 5-5 of recent times. And the way we played earlier in the year, definitely we looked shit. We sucked. Hawthorn game, Demons game. But then, Brisbane, we were good for 3 quarters. The Showdown, we probably should have won. The Carlton game, we were shocking in the first half, but played probably the best second half we played all year still. Very much could be, at the moment, 7-2. That's all I'm saying. So I'm not flicking the switch on the power yet. They've flicked it back, 4-5. And now we're in a position where we lose this game. It's not the end of the world. But it would be a lot better to win this game and then go into Essendon at home the week after and really set yourself up for a big second half of the year. And I think that's what Port Adelaide will definitely be looking at. Selection? Well, selection is going to be a tough task. I think a lot of people are actually calling for changes this week. And I see that Jonas obviously is definitely going to come in. So one of the defenders may have to drop out. Bonner's pushing his case. Then you've got the question, Fantasia, Dixon, do they come into the side? Who hasn't been performing? And you look at Dersma, who's probably had a little bit of a lesser influence, but I thought he was really good against the Dogs. Not great last week, but still kicked 2 goals. And I just think overall, I'm going in unchanged. Looking at if Jonas is capable of getting up, then yeah, throw him in, and maybe Lockie Jones goes back to the sub. But I really like the way he played on the weekend, and I think that the balance is now starting to be there. And with Dixon and Fantasia, they definitely have to play SNFL this week in the Magpies. No question about it. I'm not bringing him in this week. They've had a week off to rest. Fantasia was the sub. He's going to go back and play some game time in the Sandful. No doubt about it. And I'll be very surprised if they do pick him, because actually Dixon was very close. And I thought that was very funny. Dixon was very close to playing in some local league just to get a game and get some fitness going. So that shows how eager they are to come back. But I'm not risking them, and I'm getting them back in and making sure that they overall become fit, firing, ready to go. Bring them back in against Essendon. You go up to your 3 tools. You say Marshall, Finlayson, Georgiades. You're on notice. I know Marshall's been the best of the lot. Finlayson's kicking his goals, and Georgiades found his feet again on the weekend. But you look at the 3 and you go, you're on notice. This is the game you prove to us whether or not you're capable of staying in this side and being consistent forwards. Done it against the lighter sides, the West Coast, the Norths, a Dogs outfit that was pretty competitive, and then St Kilda outfit that we didn't kick goals, but they were very competitive. You look at them and you go, this is your moment, boys. And whoever doesn't stand up, then you're saying Dixon's in. Fantasia's coming in. Fantasia and Robbie Gray. Robbie Gray's didn't kick any goals on the weekend, but God, he looks good just moving up the ground. It's going to be damaging against the Geelong outfit. I'm still wary about Geelong and how they set up and how they can drain you and really make you feel like you're in a very claustrophobic atmosphere. And that's going to be something that we need to address this weekend. But selection-wise, I'm bringing in Jonas, and that's about it. Okay, tip for this weekend. I'm tipping Port Adelaide by 9 points. I think we're going to be an absolute nail-biter down there at the Cuttery. GMHBA Stadium's going to be pretty rocking, even though it's got one stand missing. And I think overall that's going to be something that might play in our favour. The conditions may vary. I'm not too sure what the weather conditions will be, but we know it's pretty cold. I know it can rain. And I think, if anything, if those types of conditions, it might suit us a little bit better. I know the sloppy of the football, we seem to play a bit better. But if we can do what we did against the Dogs and have a quicker start, really put the foot to the pedal, and same with against North, we had a great first quarter, or a first quarter I haven't seen really before. But we've got to be 4 quarters. We can't take the foot off. We've really got to be 4 quarters this week. Whether or not we have that, I'm not too sure, but I'm pretty confident we can get the job done. And 5-5 sounds pretty good, I reckon, after 10 rounds, considering where we were. Thank you, Port fans, for watching this preview. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on this week's game. It's going to be, as I said, an absolute nail-biter. I'm pretty excited for this one. Unfortunately, I'm going to be missing it because I'm back playing footy after an injury. So it's going to be exciting times regardless on the weekend. And hopefully a few boxes are ticked. Port win, I win. We can celebrate Saturday night. So I look forward to seeing it. Thank you very much for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you're new for plenty more Port Adelaide and AFL content. Check out Pears on a Pod as well. That's my latest podcast with Jack Hudson, interviewing some Port Adelaide legends over the years. So check that out, and I'll see you in the review, hopefully reviewing a Port Adelaide win this weekend. My name is Anthony, and as always, go on the Pear.